The movie starts with Ava waking up in the middle of the night. She remembers her father's death from 12 years ago. When she was 14, she saw her father get killed by two intruders in their house. This traumatic event made her life very difficult. She had to overcome alcohol and drug addiction. Ava often misses her father, especially since he taught her martial arts to protect herself from criminals. After Ava improves her life, she marries Derek Grant, whom she met at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. Derek comes from a wealthy family, so his father Robert is unsure about Ava because he doesn't know much about her past. But Derek stands up for Ava and convinces his parents that she is a good person. Derek and Ava get married in Arlington. Later, they go on their honeymoon to a Caribbean island where Derek's family has a summer home. When they arrive, they see photos of Derek as a child with his late mother. Ava and Derek enjoy their honeymoon with various activities like fishing, water sports, and island tours. The next day, they visit a restaurant and meet Manny, a local tour guide. Manny invites them to try Elevator, a mile-long zipline in the island hills that his friend manages. Ava and Derek are interested and decide to go. That evening, Manny also takes the newlyweds to a nightclub on the island to have fun. While they are dancing and enjoying the music, Big Biz, the gangster leader in the area, shows interest in Ava and tries to flirt with her. Realizing this, Derek tries to stop Big Biz. Unfortunately, Big Biz ignores Derek's warning and insists on dancing with Ava, leading to a confrontation. Manny tries to intervene, but his efforts seem futile as Big Biz becomes angry and ends up hitting Derek. Feeling outraged by Big Biz's treatment of her husband, Ava is forced to use the self-defense skills her father taught her. At that moment, Derek and Manny are surprised by Ava's actions, and even on the way home, Manny continues to discuss it. The next morning, Manny meets Derek and Ava at their house and informs them that Big Biz and his henchmen are coming to seek revenge for the previous night's incident. Derek and Ava are shocked by the news until Manny laughs and admits he was just joking because he came that morning to take them to the zipline location in the forest. Upon arriving at the location, Ava, who has a fear of heights, hesitates to play. But after Derek and Manny reassure her, she finally gathers the courage to try it. Unexpectedly, Ava finds that ziplining isn't that scary, so Manny then invites them to go to a more challenging zipline location. To reach the location, they had to travel a mile, but they still seemed excited to play the adrenaline-pumping game. When they arrived, Derek was the first to play, but before he reached the final point, the rope supporting Derek suddenly broke, causing him to hang on the zipline cable. Ava panicked, seeing her husband in danger while Manny tried to rescue Derek. Unfortunately, the limited rescue equipment prevented Manny from saving Derek, who eventually fell from a height into the forest. Without hesitation, Ava immediately ran into the forest to find her husband, until she was shocked to find Derek unconscious with a broken leg. Additionally, she also realized that the money Derek was carrying had disappeared, making her feel something was wrong with Derek's accident. On the other hand, Manny immediately contacted an ambulance so that Derek could be evacuated to the hospital. When Ava intended to accompany her husband to the hospital, one of the ambulance personnel named Omar instead prohibited her from entering the ambulance, citing medical procedures in the area. Omar only provided a hospital business card where Derek would receive treatment. Having no other options and worrying about her husband, Ava chose to borrow a motorcycle to follow the ambulance from behind. In the middle of the journey, Ava actually had an accident, which delayed her arrival at the hospital. Panicked, Ava asked about Derek's treatment room, but the hospital receptionist informed her that there was no patient by that name. So, Ava tried to find her husband's whereabouts at another hospital. Strangely, no hospital accepted Derek as a patient. Feeling something suspicious about this, Ava reported Derek's disappearance to the police so that the authorities could investigate her husband's whereabouts. Immediately the next day, Robert and Derek's sister, named Sandy, came to the Caribbean island after hearing from Ava about Derek's disappearance. Along with Ava, Robert, and Sandy then went to the police station to ask about the progress of Derek's kidnapping investigation. At that moment, they met Chief Roman Garza, who would handle the case. After Ava recounted all the details of Derek's incident, including the disappearance of some money Derek carried after the accident, Roman said that the island was indeed filled with dangerous criminals, so it's common for criminals to kidnap wealthy tourists like Derek to get more money. Not long after, Roman, Ava, and others went to the zipline location where Derek had the accident. From the testimony of an employee interrogated by Roman, they admitted they were not at the location when the accident occurred, which made Ava very angry to the point of attempting to attack the employee who had lied to the police. Roman immediately stopped Ava, and when they returned to the police station, he showed a video of Ava's fight at the nightclub the other night, saying that she had been involved with the most dangerous gang in the area, and that Derek might have been kidnapped by gang members who were angry with her. Sometime later, Ava began distributing Derek's picture and asking about him to the island residents, but her efforts were in vain as no one admitted to seeing Derek. Meanwhile, Robert, who eventually found out that Ava was the cause of Derek's disappearance, asked her to compensate him. This made Ava even more sad and angry at Robert. Feeling unfairly blamed for her husband's disappearance, Ava decided to investigate Derek's case on her own. The first thing she did was to go to the zipline location in the forest to interrogate Joni there. Since Joni still refused to tell the truth, Ava immediately tied him up and intended to drop him into the forest like Derek experienced. Seeing Joni panic, Ava intentionally recorded him while asking him to tell Derek what actually happened. Afraid that Ava would actually drop him, Joni confessed his lies during the interrogation with Roman and admitted that he was only ordered by the gangsters to cause Derek to have an accident while playing zipline. With the evidence of Joni's confession recording, Ava immediately went to the police station and showed the video to Roman, asking the police to arrest the perpetrators. Strangely, Roman ordered his subordinates to arrest Ava on charges of assaulting Joni, to force the zipline employee to admit his actions. He even requested Ava to be deported from the island. Sometime later, Ava was seen on a ship handcuffed alongside a police officer who would deport her. During the quite long journey, Ava asked for permission to go to the bathroom. The police officer agreed, but on the condition that he also entered the toilet to ensure she wouldn't escape. Ava agreed, and when they both entered the toilet at that moment, Ava suddenly attacked the police officer until he lost consciousness, then took the handcuff keys to free herself. Without hesitation, Ava then jumped into the sea and swam back to the Caribbean island where Derek disappeared. That night, Ava went to the nightclub she had visited with Derek to find Manny. Upon seeing him, Ava immediately attacked and interrogated him about Derek's disappearance. At that moment, Manny claimed he knew nothing about the case and said he would help Ava find her husband. Ava eventually agreed, and Manny, knowing that Ava was a fugitive on the island, took the initiative to bring her to his house to hide for a while. After being introduced to Manny's mother and brother, Ava began discussing plans to start investigating Derek's case with Manny. In their conversation, Manny said they needed to find Omar and other ambulance drivers to uncover the mastermind behind Derek's abduction. The next day, Manny took Ava to an area known as a gathering place for gangsters on the island to gather information about Omar. Unfortunately, they didn't find any significant information until Ava accidentally saw a flyer with the same symbol as a tattoo on the hand of an ambulance driver who had previously taken Derek. They immediately checked the logo, which turned out to be the logo of a fighting venue. So they hurried to the fighting location. Upon arrival, Manny asked Ava to stay in the car while he went into the fighting area to find the whereabouts of the ambulance driver who took Derek. On the other hand, Ava saw the driver leaving the fighting venue and getting into a car with a girl. After that, Ava secretly followed them until she then attacked the driver in an empty building and threatened to kill him if he didn't reveal what happened to Derek. After the driver told what he knew, Ava continued to beat him until he lost consciousness. Then she used his phone to call Omar to come to the location. Shortly after, Omar, concerned about his colleague, rushed to the location to meet Ava. After debating for a while, Ava, angered by him, threw Omar to the ground before killing him. Because of Ava's actions, she was eventually captured again by the police and considered the cause of the chaos on the island. She then got into the police car, initially thinking it would take her to the police station. But in the middle of the journey, she realized that the police were intentionally taking her to the forest to be killed. When the police got out of the car and dug a grave for Ava, who was still inside the car, she quietly managed to free herself from her handcuffs and then killed the police officers. Sometime later, Roman was startled by a call from Ava asking him to enter his daughter's room. Upon entering the room, Roman was shocked to see Ava, who had sneaked in and was pointing a gun at his sleeping daughter. Realizing he was cornered, Roman finally confessed that Derek had died in the operating room on the day of the accident. Roman admitted that he had to cover up the case because he owed a debt to Elbar, the doctor in charge of Derek's operation, who had saved his daughter's life in the past. After telling everything, Roman, feeling guilty towards Ava and Derek, secretly decided to do the unthinkable and leave bloody footprints on the floor, which Ava later saw when she left his house. After that, Ava returned to Manny's house while crying because she had to accept the fact that Derek had died. Knowing this, Manny tried to comfort her. The next morning, Ava decided to seek revenge by going to the hospital entrance where she attacked the receptionist who had lied to her before. Quickly, Ava strangled her victim to death before putting her in the trunk of her car and taking the hospital receptionist's ID card. With that ID card, Ava entered Elbar's room and wrapped his face using a plastic bag while interrogating him about what happened to Derek's body. Elbar then asked her to look at the surveillance camera footage showing a gangster named Sylvia Lugo and his henchman with Derek, who was still alive and in a wheelchair. From the surveillance footage, the gangsters took Derek to the operating room. So Ava disguised herself as a nurse to enter the operating room to save Derek. After successfully entering the operating room, Ava only found out that the hospital was going to take Derek's spinal marrow for the treatment of the cancer Silvio had been suffering from all along. Just before the operation was to take place, Ava pointed her gun at everyone in the room and took Derek away. Silvio's henchmen immediately chased them as Ava and Derek tried to leave the hospital. When Ava and Derek managed to get out through the emergency exit, Silvio and his henchmen appeared to surround them. So Ava intentionally took Silvio hostage and ordered the gangster to take her and Derek out of the hospital. At that moment, Silvio threatened to seek revenge against Ava and jumped out of the car to join his henchmen who were chasing them. After that, with Manny's guidance through text messages, Ava managed to evade Silvio's gang and met Manny, who invited them both to hide in a village. Shortly after, Silvio appeared to have reached the village and asked the residents about Ava and the others' whereabouts. Here's the simplified version. One of the locals told Silvio where Ava was hiding, so Silvio's gang surrounded Manny's house. Ava and Derek fought and killed the gangsters who came in. They eventually faced Silvio. The locals watched the fight. When the police came, Ava had Silvio as a hostage. Silvio told the police to arrest Ava because he had bribed them. Soon, Big Biz showed up. He asked everyone to stop causing trouble because it could hurt tourism, which was important to the locals. Big Biz convinced Ava to give him the knife she was using to hold Silvio. He then used it to kill Silvio in front of everyone. Big Biz told Ava and Derek to leave the island right away and told the police to go back to the station, promising to pay them double what Silvio had paid. In the end, the film showed Ava and Derek leaving the island on a speedboat. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.